It's got us trying to find two different side lengths of a right triangle, given that it's a right triangle, given one of the acute angles, and given one of the sides, in this case, the hypotenuse. So we can do this with a couple of SOHCAHTOA equations. It does say find the exact values, so we've got to be careful with that at the end. Make sure our answers are not some rounded decimal. And you need to take your pick. If you're going to solve an equation, you can't solve for x and y at the same time. We need two separate things. So I'm going to find x first. And so to 60 degrees, x is the adjacent side. So I would not use sine. Sine does not use adjacent. And I want to pair it up with something that I know, the hypotenuse. So the only one that pairs up adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. So this is how SOHCAHTOA is useful to us. And it's always adjacent on top, hypotenuse on bottom. There gives me my equation. So x, multiply both sides by 18, is 18 cosine of 60. And you may be tempted to type that in your calculator, but you shouldn't need to. 60 degrees is an angle on the unit circle. The point at 60 degrees is 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. Cosine is the x value. So all of this is really just a half. So 18 times a half is 9. All right, so no calculator needed. Just apply SOHCAHTOA to make an equation. Now, I guess for the last side, if you really wanted to, you could use Pythagorean theorem. I know some of you feel more comfortable with that. Got two sides of a right triangle. Just make sure you keep your answer exact if you do it that way. I'm going to go ahead and just do it with SOHCAHTOA. So from 60, I'm trying to find opposite. And technically I know adjacent, so I could do a tangent equation. I also know hypotenuse, so I could do a sine equation. Now there's always a chance I made a mistake on this, so I tend to try not to use this. I try to use the information given to me. So I'm going to say sine from that angle is opposite over hypotenuse. So again, multiply both sides by 18, and you would get y equals 18 times the sine of 60. And again, I know you're tempted to go to your calculator, type that in, but if you do, it's going to give you a decimal, and the directions here say find exact values. So no one's interested in the rounded decimal here. And the way you can do that without a calculator and to get an exact value is to know at 60 degrees, sine is the y value, square root of 3 over 2, and 18 divided by 2, I could reduce those, and that comes out to be 9 square root